Six Flags Great America has had 82 rides in total, not including the new one they just announced, in its 48 years of serving thrills. Not 20-something rides like most people think. Now, I know what y'all are thinking. This is just another boring ranking of the rides. I can tell you it's not. Instead of using my personal bias, telling you what rides I think are the best, I'm going to let math and facts do it. Using math, I'm going to rank all 82 rides, past and present, according to the ride times from fastest to slowest. Before we do, I have an announcement to make. Since Great America has had 82 coasters, I will split this list up into multiple videos so this video isn't 4 hours long. Now, let's get into the rules of the list. Rule 1. This is my list. While I am using math and facts to make it, people will still dislike or hurt certain coasters. So I am sorry if your favorite coaster isn't number 1, but remember, this is my list. Rule number 2. I will be basing this list on time, going from the slowest at the bottom and fastest at the top. That being said, since there isn't a lot of information on the now defunct rides from 1976 through the 1980s, I will have backup plans. If 2 rides have the same ride time, I will sort them by speed. Then, if there's no information about that, I will do my own personal preface on how the ride looks. I know it's convoluted, but I have no other choice, since people in the 70s and 80s didn't care to conserve ride information for people in the future. Before we begin, here are some fun facts that I found out while researching for this list. The average amount of years a ride was open for is 22 years. I know that's a lot, but Great America still has 13 rides that have been open since 1976. The average speed of a Great America roller coaster is 48.5 miles per hour. Most of the rides at Great America were made by Zamperla, making a massive 12 out of the 82 rides. A lot of manufacturers only have made one ride for Great America, but only one of those stand out. Six Flags themselves made a ride for Great America in 1995. That ride was the Viper. To this day, it's the only ride Six Flags has ever designed and installed themselves. The rides that have been there the longest are 13 of the original opening day attractions that are still in operation to this day. Those 48-year-old rides are Ackerman Splashdown, named Yankee Clipper on opening day, the Columbia Carousel, the Demon, which was called Turn of the Century, the DC Supervillain Swings, which were called the Whirligig, Fiddler's Fling, Hometown Fun Machine, Ladybugs, Logger's Run, Red Baron, Rudy Dodge, the Lobster, Todd's Livery, Triple Play, Whizzer, and last but not least, Yahoo with River. The ride that has been there the shortest is the Gulf Coaster. It didn't even last half of the 1976 season. The oldest ride is Little Dipper. Even though it has only been at Great America since 2010, it was built in 1950. That means that the ride is 74 years old. The fastest ride is Sky Striker, hitting a massive 75 miles an hour. The slowest ride is again the Gulf Coaster, reaching an astoundingly slow 8 miles an hour. The tallest ride is Star Trek Tower, standing at a massive 333 feet in the air. The smallest ride is once again Gulf Coaster, only clocking in at 12 feet high. The ride with the longest track is Raging Bull, with 5,067 feet of track. The ride with the shortest track is once again the Gulf Coaster, with a whopping 280 feet of track. Now let's get into this list, shall we? At the very bottom of this list, at 82nd place, is my personal favorite vintage Great America ride, the Skyroll, with a staggering 30-minute ride time. The Skyroll was a triple tree wheel made by Intamin for Marriott's Great America for the 1976 season. This ride was described as a triple Ferris wheel that looked like a T and took passengers 110 feet in the air. Riders would get in a bird cage, and the two of the reels would take riders up in the air, and the other reel would remain horizontal and close to the ground. This wheel was for families with small children and people who were scared of heights. This ride would last for 24 years, shutting down in 2000 to make way for Deja Vu. This would stand where Ratha Rakasha will be standing next year. Hometown Trolley Cars was a trolley ride that lasted 20 minutes, taking you from one side of the park to the other, with 3 stops along the way. This ride lasted 9 years, closing in 1985. Thankfully, while the ride is now defunct, the trolleys and track are used for the plethora of parades Great America has every year. Ferris wheel. There isn't much information about Ferris wheel that was sandwiched between the Fairground Junction station and Eagles Flight Station. It was a simple kiddie Ferris wheel built by the L.E. Bridge Company that opened in 1980, probably to accommodate the children that were too small or too scared to ride the Skywheel. This ride lasted 18 minutes. The Ferris wheel only lasted 4 years before it was closed in 1984 to make room for Z-Force. This would stand where Goliath is today. Great American Raceway was an antique car ride manufactured by Aerodynamics for the 1976 season. Once you got in a ride car painted to look like a classic car, you'd ride around a figure-8 track and a bridge for 15 minutes. When Splashwater Falls was built, the ride queue was modified to accommodate the new ride. It was closed in 2010 after 34 years to make way for X-Flight. But even after it closed, its tracks and some of the ride cars sat abandoned for 13 years until 2023 when they were removed to make way for the Sky Striker. Today, a few of the ride cars are used as props in the ride graveyard during Fright Fest. Sky Trail was a rope course made by Rope Courses Inc. for the 2010 season. Well, this doesn't really classify as a ride. I remember it being seen as a ride when I was 12, and if you look up Sky Trail at Six Flags Great America on Google, it's classified as a ride. So that's why it's on the list. This ride was a silly little rope course that, if I remember correctly, was a pay-to-play ride that took about 10 minutes to complete. This ride was located near the Demon's entrance and lasted 4 years before closing in 2014 due to a lack of popularity. I wonder why. Traffic Jam was another antique car ride made by Arrow for Marriott's Great America in 1976. From what I could find while researching for this video, it looked a lot like Great American Raceway. You get on ride cars made to look like the old Henry Ford style cars and go around a track for 10 minutes. This kiddie ride lasted for 8 years before being removed to make room for the Roaring Rapids. One of these cars was used for the Party Gras live show before that was shut down in 2023. Today, that ride car is being used as a prop during Fright Fest. Skytrack Tower was built by Intamin for the 1977 season. It is the tallest ride in the park and can be seen from almost anywhere in the park. This ride was made in Germany and then shipped to the United States. This ride can hold up to 285 passengers. While you were taken up in the air, you were told fun facts about Great America's history. This ride lasts 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Right after the COVID-19 pandemic, when Great America was reopening, this ride shut down, but thankfully not for good. When it reopened in 2023, it was such a big deal that it made the news. May this ride be open for many more years to come. Raging Bull was built by Bollingler, sorry, I can't pronounce that, and Malibird for the 1999 season to replace Rolling Thunder. This coaster is 202 feet high and takes you around 5,067 feet of track at 73 miles an hour for 5 minutes. This ride is notorious for lost and broken phones. When my husband and I went to Great America last year, we were in line for the Viper when Raging Bull flew past us and we heard someone yell something, and we turned towards the noise just in time to see a phone hit the ground. While the next 2 rides on the list have the same ride time as Raging Bull, this is faster than them and is my favorite out of the 3. Justice League Battle for Metropolis is a tracked dark ride designed by Sally Court for the 2016 season, replacing the abandoned Southwest Amphitheater. This was the first and only ride at Great America that has animatronics. I don't count the crappy ones that were at Buccaneer Bay. It has a Cyborg and Joker animatronic. During the ride's 5 minutes, you help Superman and Batman free the other Justice League members and take down Joker and Lex Luthor by shooting at targets and henchmen. Buccaneer Battle was a splash battle boat ride built by Mack Rides for the 2009 season, replacing Deja Vu. During the ride's 5-minute ride time, you'd board a boat, and you and everyone on your boat would try and spray targets and other boats. It was shut down a lot of times during its 12 years of operation. With its cheap animatronics, that was to be expected. It shut down for good in 2021, but was left abandoned until earlier this year, where it was torn down to make room for the brand new ride Wrath of Brockishaw that will open next year. Bedrock Boulder Roller is a mini Ferris wheel that was built for the 1998 season. It was placed in the Camp Cartoon area, a kids area in the park. This Ferris wheel lasted 5 minutes and was for smaller kids that were tall enough to start to ride the bigger rides, but not tall enough for most of the rides at the park. It was themed around the Flintstones cartoon. It lasted 19 years, closing after the 2017 season. Some of the gondolas are used as props in the ride cemetery during Fright Fest. Aquaman Splashdown, formerly known as Yankee Clipper, was a boat flume ride built for the 1976 season by Aerodynamic. When Yankee Harbor was changed to the DC universe for the 2021 season, Yankee Clipper was rethemed and renamed Aquaman Splashdown to fit in the DC universe theme. But before the retheme, its name was changed once before. It was named Ice Mountain Splash for a single season, before changing it back to Yankee Clipper after public outcry. During this 4-minute and 13-second ride, you board a log flume and go through 1,550 feet of track and go up 60 feet in the air before plummeting down the remaining 25 feet of track at 30 miles an hour. Space Shuttle America was a motion simulator ride built by Intamin for the 1994 season. During the ride's 4-minute ride time, you'd board a new space shuttle and be taken to the fictional Armstrong City using Lunar Rud Velocity Management Warp to do some sightseeing, but are sent to investigate a meteorite danger instead before getting damaged by said meteor and being warped back to Earth for the passenger's safety. As this ride was built for the 1994 season, moon landings weren't really popular, as well as rising maintenance costs, so it closed for good after 13 years in 2007. It sat abandoned for 2 years before finally being removed in 2009 to make room for a Hurricane Harbor expansion. Southern Cross was a sky ride built by the Von Rowe Company for the 1977 season. During this ride's 4-minute ride time, you'd board a bucket to cross the park instead of using the train. This ride would take you from Orleans Place to the Southwest Territory and vice versa. This ride would last 5 years, closing after the 1982 season. Crazy Cars is a kiddie ride made for the 2007 season by Zamperla. In this ride, you and your child can hop into a brightly colored open-top cruiser, and your child can drive as you ride across a track for 4 minutes. This ride is still in operation to this day and is perfect for little ones who want to ride the rides but are too small for them. Logger's Run is your typical log flume ride built by Arrow for the 1976 season. In this 3-minute and 42-second ride, you board a log flume and enjoy a slow ride with an amazing view for 2 minutes before plunging down and splashing for the last minute and 42 seconds. Everyone is bound to get a little bit wet in this ride, but whoever is in the very front of the log will get soaked. Power Dive was a looping starship ride made by Intamin for the 1987 season. It was themed after a fighter jet and was advertised in a Top Gun-style commercial. This ride took riders in a loop for 3 minutes and 33 seconds. This ride lasted for 14 years, closing after the 2001 season, before sitting abandoned for 3 years before finally being replaced by King Chaos. Eagle's Flight, also known as Delta Flyer, was a sky ride built by the Von Roll Company for the 1976 season. It took guests from the county fair to the Orleans Place. It was the same ride as Southern Cross, but Eagle's Flight only lasted for 3 minutes and was shorter than the Southern Cross. Eagle's Flight lasted 14 years before being closed after the 1990 season. The county fair station still exists to this day. When you go and get funnel cakes from the Funnel Cake Foundry and you or your parents ask why it looks familiar, it's the county fair station for Eagle's Flight that Six Flags converted into the restaurant. Not all of Eagle's Flight has been lost. Some of the ride cars are used as props in the ride graveyard during Freight Fest. Revolution was a frisbee ride built by Huss. Originally a Six Flags Great Adventure in 1999, Six Flags sent it to Six Flags Great America for the 2004 season. During the ride's 3 minutes, you'd spin in a circle while the ride swung back and forth. This ride stayed at Great America for 19 years before being closed in 2023 to make way for the Sky Striker that opened at the park earlier this year. If you like this ride and wish to ride it again, go to the Niagara Amusement Park in New York, where it will open next year with its original Great America's color scheme, so you will be able to spot it right away. Hey Baylor was a Matterhorn ride built for the 1977 season. During the ride's 3 minutes, you would spin in a circle going up and down small inclines and declines for 3 minutes. The cars would angle out the faster you went. This ride lasted 23 years, closing after the 2000 season, before being shipped off to Six Flags Worlds of Adventure to make room for Deja Vu. Lobster was a monster ride built by the Schwarzkopf Company for the 1976 season. From 1991 to 2016, its name was changed from East River Crawler before being given its original name back when it was moved from Yankee Harbor to Hometown Square. When you get on the ride, you are spun in circles while your car is lifted in the air before being brought back down multiple times for 3 minutes. 20 rides down and 62 more to go. Let me know your rankings for these 20 rides in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in part 2 of this list. Bye bye.